how can we have these mindsets of such patience, long-term, and investment, financial energy and time into certain things, but then for fitness training, we completely forget that that's a thing?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Truth Talks, the podcast that brings you real strategies for sustainable fitness transformation. Guess what?
I think I know what you're gonna say, but I'll say what.
Okay, thanks for indulging me. That was the 50th time I have done that intro. Actually, it's probably more than 50 because what people don't really realize is how many times we've actually re-recorded this intro because you've been laughing at me as I've been trying to say it. So yeah, 50th time we've published this intro because this is officially episode number 50 of Truth Talks. I'm really excited about that. I think it's awesome.
I think it's great. And I was looking back and scrolling through some of the episode topics, and I'm like, man, this is a gold mine that I wish I had when I first started getting into this stuff when I was younger. Because if you watch every single one of these videos, you will learn a lot more than any kind of degree or anything, like even kin degree, that's like actually practical knowledge that you can apply in terms of practicality. Like everything we talk about is very actionable. It's very like specific to, you know, body composition, fat loss, muscle growth. So I was looking back at the episodes topics. I'm like, these are gold. Like I think we did a good job, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think it's good. Or at least the titles looked good, you know?
The titles look good. Yeah. The discussions, you guys have to tell us if they're good, but I think you're right. Like from the very beginning, we set out to do this in a way that was practical. And like, there's a reason why in that intro, we say like real strategies for sustainable fitness transformation, right? Because we definitely want the strategies to feel accessible. And we also don't want to just talk about the theory. We want to talk about how to implement things and how to put things into practice. So I do think when I look back at those 50 episodes, I'm like, I feel like we have done a good job of living that intention and really making sure that the conversations feel like there's clear takeaways for people.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite episode?
Anytime soon.
That won't stop. No, we're not stopping at 50. Let's just make that known. We're not stopping at 50. We're just acknowledging that we made it here.
Favorite episode? I don't know. The body recomposition one, like can you lose fat and build muscle at the same time? I think that's a good one. Lots of nuances there. Mm-hmm. How to eat more protein is one I've been sending around because a lot of people ask me like, oh, you know, how do I get more protein or whatever? So I usually send them that one. Like our friend Sam, shout out Sam. He asked me yesterday about like, you know, protein takes. So I sent that over. So those are two ones that I think stand out to me. What about you?
Interesting, because somebody actually asked me last week in my DMs, they asked me which episode most aligns with your values. And I was like, oh, that's a good question.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, because I feel like we do talk a lot about our values here. And it's not just about like, what do I find most interesting? So the two that I ended up sending back to them were, is your diet unsustainable? Because for me, one of my core values is eating in a way that is meant for my lifestyle long-term, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I try to really infuse in the strategies I bring with my clients is figuring out what's sustainable for them. It's one of our core pillars, right? Body systems, science, sustainability, success. So sustainability has to be there. So
can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Can I interrupt you for a second? You know, it's cool. Those pillars have not changed in several years since 2019.
Yeah.
So we've kept the same values from day one.
I love that.
But anyways, continue. Yeah.
I think they're always going to be at the core. We might you know, in the future, the branding might evolve around them, but I think science, sustainability, success is really always going to be there. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad
to cut you off, but yeah.
No, please do. So yeah, that was one I sent them. And the other one I sent over was, can you eat your favorite foods and still see progress? That one as well, because I'm a foodie. Like if you go to my Instagram, it says fitness foodie and then women's body recomp coach, right? Like, because I'm a fitness foodie. Like I love to eat and I love to enjoy food. And I do believe food is meant to be enjoyed. So I like that we were able to cover that one as well.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Those are good. Those are two good ones. Yeah.
So as we think about the last 50 episodes, there's definitely been some great moments. We just called out a few that really resonated with us in terms of specific episodes. We did ask our team, we asked Team Truth, you know, in honor of 50 episodes, how should we start to approach celebrating that and honoring that? What should we do for our special edition? And I want to give Mark and Em shout outs here because they gave us some great inputs. Mark brought up the fact that a 50th anniversary is typically like the golden anniversary, he said. So we're going to try to dig into that theme a little bit and talk about some golden nuggets of truth that have really come up along the course of these first 50 episodes, and I think are just truths that we value. Truths that we
Yeah,
value.
yeah.
So we want today's episode actually to be around like sharing some of those golden nuggets of truth. And we're going to go with our top 5 and maybe a bonus. Before we do, I just want to take a moment and, as Em suggested, look back on where we started with episode 1. And so like before we go into the golden nuggets, if like I want to just take a moment and say, when we started episode 1, I look back at some of those, you know, the visuals, and it's not like we have the fanciest setups in the world, but
No.
the video was darker and more grainy and like all this stuff. So I think we've want to give us a little bit of credit there. I think we've figured out how to do this thing.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, the audio quality, I think we figured out the settings and everything like that, which is good. But again, we're here to give the value, not necessarily to have the best studio. I think people rather have the value versus just us have this awesome studio and just have like nothing to give, you know. So, but yeah, that is true though. It's important.
Yeah, I think when we first set out to start this podcast, I was like just really excited to actually sit down and chat with you once a week about things we both care about, because we have all these conversations. Like we're both so immersed in this. We share the same values, we share the same systems, we do the work together. But it's nice to have this opportunity to like sit down and broaden those conversations and include other people in them. So that's what I've been really reflecting on. Yeah.
Definitely. And just the best thing about these episodes is just being able to send people, because some people ask the same questions over and over again, right? And instead of me sending, a 5-minute voice note, I'll just say, watch this episode. It's long form content versus, Instagram posts might give you a snippet of value, like one quick thing, but we go deep and in a way where it's comprehensive and talk about the nuances. So it's been helpful to have these as resources to just kind of send people.
Yeah, love it. Okay. Shall we just dive into our golden nuggets?
Let's do it.
All right, so 5 golden nuggets of truth that we feel like have made us sound like a bit of a broken record over these last 50 episodes. So these are ones that if you've been listening so far, you'll know what we're going to say, but also are just truths that apply no matter what, no matter how many episodes we do, no matter, where we're at with the podcast. Like these are truths that we want to bring forward for our clients, for ourselves, for the coaching business, for the broader fitness industry. All right, shall we?
Let's do it.
Golden nugget, golden truth. Golden nugget of truth. That's what I'm going to call them. Golden nuggets of truth. Number 1, okay. Parris, what is it?
It's you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. Okay. We might have slightly misspoken in a previous episode at one point. I don't know if we did or didn't, but we might have said you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. That's like, you're more likely to lose fat when you're in a calorie deficit, but you don't necessarily have to be. There's some nuances, but to lose weight, you definitely 100% need to be in a calorie deficit. So anybody that tells you otherwise, it's false. If you're looking to lose weight over time, you do need to be burning more than you're eating consistently.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked so much about weight loss and fat loss because this podcast is set up to help people change their body composition. And so a lot of times weight loss and fat loss both are part of that. So any of the episodes where we've talked about how to move the needle on your weight loss goals, if you are somebody who has a lot of weight to lose, then you really do need to be considering that calorie deficit. I know what you talked about just now with like a fat loss. It is a little bit more nuanced, right? Because there are people who have the opportunity to actually go through body recomposition. And that's what you were talking about earlier, why we have that episode of can you lose fat and build muscle at the same time, right? And so that definitely is like, a more nuanced conversation. But I think recognizing that if you have a weight loss goal, if your goal is to see changes on the scale, which another episode plug, we did actually talk about how you can measure progress beyond the scale. So that is a thing. But if the scale measurements are a sign of progress for you, calorie deficit, paramount, no other way.
Yep. Perfect.
Number 1. I think we can leave it there.
Yeah, we can.
Golden nugget of truth number 2. If you want to change your physique when it comes to exercise, you do need to have structured training. I think that is a really important one because I've been thinking so much recently about how people like do fitness classes or like just decide I'm going to go to the gym, do whatever. And we've done some episodes around structuring your training. And so that's something I really want to go back to as one of our golden nuggets of truth. What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, I think maybe we can say like you should very strongly suggest that you should have structured training. Like but here's the thing. Even if I said, you know what, on this day, I'm just going to hit these muscle groups, this day I'm going to hit these muscle groups and blah, blah, blah. That's still a form of structure. Even if I just went in there and winged it, it's still technically structure. So, but I would say the more structure, the better. And the more specific with your training, the better. that will only take you so far if you're a beginner. But a lot of times when people come through our door, they're already training regularly, but they've never been specific and tracked their workouts and been very intentional with programming variables. And then they respond so well and they're like, wow, I can't believe I never, had structure in my training before. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think it's not that we have to, but we very, very much should, if we're serious about progress, have some structure with your training. And again, I just can't understand why I see so many people who are like really serious about the gym that still don't track their workouts or have a program.
Yeah. It's like you can go to the gym every single day,
mm-hmm.
but what are you doing when you're there to make that time as purposeful as possible to get you towards a goal, right? I think one of the things that comes to mind for me as well is structure. Sometimes there's structure for outcome purposes. Like, okay, I follow the structure because it's designed for the specificity of my goal. But one thing that gets too easily overlooked is structure for accountability purposes, right? Like structure for me, I'm like, I train on a 4-day split. So I know if I want to be accountable, I got to hit my 4 days. That's what I'm accountable to.
Yeah.
If you don't have a training program or something to follow, it's much easier to shrug it off, be like, oh, I'll just go to the gym when I go to the gym, right? Like, So I do think structure actually is key to consistency as well.
That's interesting.
And I know like on certain days, I'm like, I'm not going to the gym today. That's okay, because there's 3 days a week where I don't go to the gym, right?
Yeah.
It's purposeful though.
I like that. That's an interesting thought. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, structure is the key to being accountable and therefore consistent.
Exactly. And therefore get the results.
Coach. Yeah. And then get, exactly.
So there is structure for the benefits that structure offers in terms of having a designated training program that's designed to do what you need to do. But then there's structure also for like, the structure helps you actually just take the action. So
I love that. That's really cool.
Do you want to do number 3? Third goal nugget of truth?
Number 3 is there's no one specific way to eat and no also bad foods or off limit foods or different things like that. So a lot of people say you have to do this diet or you have to do this or this is the best diet. It's like, well, what context for who, for how long? Like there's so many questions. So I think instead of thinking about foods as good or bad or this is the one diet or this or that, it's more so basing around principles like we talked about. And then how can we check the box on certain principles, but then also have it sustainable, something that we can follow that fits with our specific life. Because let's say something is quote unquote more optimal on paper, but I'm pulling teeth to be able to follow it. Then maybe something that's maybe 80% as effective on paper allows me to then seamlessly integrate into my life, and all of a sudden consistency is unlocked and I'm making great progress. So sometimes, we have to focus on the major needle movers and not get hung up with what's kind of perfect on paper or what's supposed to be the best, when in reality, it's like, let's check the major boxes and the principles behind nutrition and not fall into any sort of camps as well. Yes. I think that's the main thing.
I like that you said that. Don't fall into a specific camp. Like just be your own camp. Have your own solo tent. Set that up, right?
Yeah. No, I'm just going to add on, like, if somebody asks me, like, what diet do you follow? I say, I don't know. Like, I eat it depending on the goal. I'm either in a calorie surplus, maintenance, or calorie deficit, eat enough protein and time my meals, based on my day and my training and based on preferences. Those are my food choices. Like that's pretty like, I don't know how to sum that up in one diet.
Whole food, nutrient dense sources, but with some fun stuff thrown in, right? Like that's it.
Exactly.
And so I like that you said earlier, like focus on the principles. And I think that's exactly the key thing to like breaking that stigma around like eating a certain way. And one of the reasons why I wanted this to be one of our golden nuggets is that it's not about being on a plan or off a plan, right? Because I think when people think about eating a certain food, either as on plan or off plan, or eating a certain way is on plan or off plan, like there is no one best way to eat. It's however you eat and however that supports your goals or doesn't, right? So that is a truth that needs to be understood.
Do you want to introduce the next one?
Sure. The 4th golden nugget of truth. I like this one. Parris, this is one of yours, so I'm going to give you the credit for adding this to the list, but this one's so good. Self-limiting beliefs are the biggest thing that holds people back from making progress. Why I like this so much is because people have information, and most people are willing to put in a certain amount of effort, I would say. So people know things, they learn things, they see things, they hear things, we're exposed to constant information. But people struggle to take action, not because they're lazy, not because they don't know, but because there's something else going on up here up here for those listening audio, I'm just pointing at my head, in the mind that is holding them back. And so I'd love for you to expand a little bit more on what that means to you and why it's so important.
Yeah, the craziest thing about self-limiting beliefs, and we can say that they're beliefs that don't serve us. Like they're self-limiting, meaning they're holding us back from achieving our progress in this instance. And it's just funny when I hear people say certain things, they believe it to be true so deeply. But then we know that there's other examples of the same context or same situation where
Archetype of
people
person or
archetype of person, etc., where they've made a ton of progress. So it's like obviously the belief system is false. Like for example, let's say Cornelia said, you know what? I'm working long days. Like there's no way I could go to the gym. There's no way I could track my food. There's no way I could, reach my goals. If that was my self-limiting belief, then I might say, well, here's like 7 other people that have worked maybe even longer hours and maybe also had kids and etc. and still made it happen. So it's like, it's not true. It's a belief. So sometimes I think the biggest thing people need to do is challenge their belief systems. And it's scary when you look back and be like, wow, no, I was kind of wrong about that. And a lot of times it takes somebody else to point out your self-limiting beliefs. And we both had our coaches and our mentors challenge our own self-limiting beliefs, which is great. That's the point of mentorship and coaching. But sometimes it takes somebody outside of you to tell you for you to realize that it's even a self-limiting belief. Do you want to add to that, Courtney?
I think you need somebody to tell you sometimes. You just need a little bit of dose of that, because the reason it's a self-limiting belief to begin with is because you already believe it. So you need somebody to break that thought process. It's really hard to do it on your own. And even if you're a very self-aware person, which I consider myself self-aware, I'm aware of my self-limiting beliefs, but that doesn't always mean that I have the tools and ability on my own to tackle them, right? And so that's where I think the importance of, like you said, mentorship, guidance, or even objective thinking really comes to light. And so I think we did an episode on we said what's really getting in the way of your goals was kind of how we framed the episode title. And in that episode, we talked about the difference sometimes between, I'm going to use the word excuses because people know what that word means when I say it, excuses versus realities, right? Because to a certain extent, we all have our version of reality that we operate within. And sometimes there are limitations imposed on us by nature of our reality. That's the truth, right? But how we interpret that reality then defines whether or not it's a self-limiting belief, right? And so, that's an old episode. It was one of our first ones. So I wanted to throw back to that because just as a reminder, also for us, like the mindset stuff and the reason we value tackling self-limiting beliefs, because it's so important to your fitness journey and to making it a long-term success, and something I think I look forward to talking more about in future episodes as well, diving more into some of the mindset pieces too.
Yeah, that lens. It's the lens at which you see the world, right? If I woke up every day and I said, "Oh my gosh, training is so hard. I hate it. I can't do it. I'm not strong. Tracking my food is so difficult. Oh my gosh!" Like if you operate from that versus I woke up and be like, "I've done this before. I could probably do it again." Like if somebody else can do it, I can do it. See the different lenses. Like same situation, same context, different lens. Yeah. So
yeah,
anyways.
Well said. Well said. I think that sums up that nugget.
Yep.
So nugget number 5. Golden nugget.
Are there protein in these nuggets? Are they like chicken nuggets?
Yeah, golden nuggets sounds like golden arches plus chicken nugget. Yeah, we're on to something.
Okay.
You gotta tell me how much protein is in them though. I don't know.
And one singular chicken nugget, I would say probably ranges between like 4 and 6 grams of protein. If I had to guess, you want to search
in one
up?
Singular chicken nugget?
Yeah. If it's a big one.
Okay, let's find out.
Is there even real meat in there?
It's probably somewhere mixed into it. Okay. Parris, on the fly here.
Yeah.
4-piece chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Canadian menu.
16 protein?
I want you to guess protein and calories for 4 chicken nuggets.
Ooh. Can I guess macros instead? There's breading on them, right?
Well, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's what that is. Okay, I'm going to say like somewhere around 13 to 16 grams of protein. I'm going to say 5 to 9 grams of fat, maybe slightly higher, maybe towards a 9. And then carbs, maybe 11 to 12.
You know what? You're not that far off, but I will say they came in a little low on the protein. 10 grams protein for 4 nuggets.
Oh, okay.
Which means only 2.5 grams of protein each.
I was wrong.
9 grams of fat, which was in your range there, and 10 carbs, also pretty aligned with your range. So
all right, I'm not bad.
Yeah, Not bad. You know what? 170 calories for 4 nuggets. Pretty decent though. I'm like, if you
Depending on
really
how
want
big
to,
they are.
well, I
Depending on
mean,
how
they're
big the
small.
nuggets. Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be full after 4 nuggets, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But if you really wanted to have them and then go eat a separate meal, you could do it for sure. Anyways, glad we cleared
That's too
that
funny.
up. Little fun little sidebar that we had. Maybe we should do more of that. More.
That was the
Let us
most
know in the
important part of
comments.
this episode.
Probably that was the ultimate golden nugget.
Takeaway. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I
there
feel
might be a
like
bonus.
I've cut you off like 20 times in this podcast episode. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know why.
No,
it's just one of those
You're my
things.
brother. We're supposed to cut each other off and just get into it.
I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5. And then you can do bonus one. Time is your best friend. Okay.
Yes.
The most killer of dreams is impatience and giving up too soon. Okay. You know that, I actually sent this to a client. I won't name names. You know that it's an image of a guy and he's mining and he's like chipping away. And then there's like diamonds at the end of like, what he's chipping away at. And then the image below is like him and has this little sliver of rock that he needs to chip away before he hits the diamonds. But he turns away and he says, I've worked so hard, but it's just not for me or something. And he turns away. But there's only like this little sliver of rock, right? So I think for a lot of people, they just get discouraged and they quit a little bit too soon. Maybe they had one highway in, right? Or one bad weekend and they're like, it's all over. And then they retreat where it's like all those diamonds, which is like your metaphorical amazing progress that you can make is right there. And I think we need to realize that the longer time you spend your fitness journey, your actions and skills compound on each other. So it's not just like this one phase where you make this certain amount of progress. Like your skills and your actions and your self-awareness and your knowledge tend to compound on each other, and your progress just keeps building and building. So each phase is not like restarting. It's like one phase should build into the next, should build into the next. And if you want crazy transformations, it's going to take a long time. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're not going to have this crazy magician transformation in 8 weeks.
I actually had a thought the other day, and I thought to myself, imagine if everybody who shared like this crazy 8-week transformation photo, or even like 3-4 month 6-month transformation photo, was mandated to share an update a year later.
Ooh,
right? I was like,
wow.
Imagine some of the chaos that could come out of that, right? And I think it just speaks to like, time is your best friend. You're right. You're so right, Parris. Like, time is your best friend, but when you don't treat it with respect, it's not going to pay you back, right? So if you are so focused on like, you know what, time, I don't respect you, I want to do this in 6 weeks instead of giving you the time you deserve, then it's not going to net out with that reciprocity that we want time to give back to us. I like to think of like the time you're willing to put into something is usually the time you're accepting back, right? Not necessarily like one for one, but just if you're somebody who's willing to give the time, you will get back the longevity as a result, the longevity of your progress, the longevity of your results. I like that. Yeah.
I like that.
I
That's
think
really cool.
Your image with the miner really stood out to me. I think that speaks volumes.
I hope people know what I'm talking about. They could search up miner about to hit diamonds, but turns back image or something on Google.
I'll see if I can find it. I'll pop it on the screen for anybody who watches the video. Hopefully it'll be out by the time you're watching it.
Yeah, sounds good. I did want to add one thing about time before we move on that I'm completely blanking on now that I'm saying this. Hold on. What was I going to say? It was a good one.
We'll give you some time to think about it.
Yeah, think about it. Oh, God. Oh, shit. What was it? I was just...
1 minute later.
Okay, so here's what I don't get with people in their fitness journey, right? Think about how long it took you to get a degree, right? 4 years. Some people are in school for 8 years to really master something, right? Or in your career.
If you're a doctor, think about how many years you spend in school, plus residency, plus. Yeah.
Yep. Or even in your career, like to get to a point where you're like, okay, you know what? I'm really comfortable and confident in my skills in my career. Sometimes it takes people a decade, right? To really earn that badge, or your business. We know like business takes years to build a sustainable, just good, solid foundational business, right? But then people have that mindset for other things. They don't mind spending 4 years in school to get a degree that maybe will help them in some way, shape, or form. However, when it comes to their fitness journey, they want to do it all in 8 weeks and they expect to be completely master of their progress in 8 weeks. Yeah. So it's like, how can we? Forever. Yeah, exactly. How can we have these mindsets of such patience, long-term, and investment, financial energy and time into certain things, but then for fitness journey, we completely forget that that's a thing. Anyways.
Yeah. Yep. No, for sure. So that was such a nice, impactful way to round out our 5 golden nuggets. I'm going to do a very quick recap, and then we actually have a bonus.
Nice.
So stay tuned for the bonus. Quick recap. Number 1, calorie deficit is king. If your goal is weight loss, the only thing that you need to be focused on is a calorie deficit. And there's a whole other thing we could open up around, like, the things that impact your ability to achieve a calorie deficit. But at the end of the day, calorie deficit. Number 2, you should have structure with your training if you have a physique-oriented goal. You should. You might not have to, but there are amazing benefits both in terms of consistency, accountability, and results by having structure. Number 3, there is no one way to eat, and therefore also no bad foods. You need to understand the nutrition principles instead of focusing on being in a certain camp. I liked your language that you used there around the camps. Number 4, self-limiting beliefs are the biggest thing that holds people back from progress. Yeah, it's all between the ears, because what happens between the ears really impacts how you show up and how you filter the lens of your reality. Number 5, time is your best friend. Be patient and master delayed gratification. What you give into the process in terms of time and energy both, and that patience will pay back dividends. It's like the stock market, right? Like they always say, time in market beats timing the market. And I think that's the same thing with your fitness journey. If you time in your journey, time in dedication beats timing your dedication. Yeah. So let's go with our bonus. Do you want to reveal our bonus?
Sure. Our bonus says applying the science in a way that's personalized to you. Okay. And that ultimately will lead to success. So kind of like what I was talking about before, it's like, even if you have the most quote unquote optimal thing on paper, if you searched up, okay, if I were to do this the most optimal way possible, like what would it look like? But that doesn't take into account that we have lives and responsibilities and stressors and relationships and other things going on, right? So you don't live in a perfectly and preferences. Exactly. So if we want to make this over the long run, I always tell people I'd rather you be 80% on point forever than 100% for brief periods of time.
I love that. The science is always going to be true, but the ability to turn science into desired outcomes relies on personalization. It does, right? You need to contextualize it. And that's one of the main reasons I actually wanted to start this podcast to begin with, was to give us an opportunity to talk about where personalization fits in, because you can't do that in a 1-minute reel. But what we get to do with this longer format is actually dive into some of the nuances, talk about the gray zone, talk about, hey, if you are XYZ, then maybe consider this, versus if you're this, maybe consider that. And just try to help people know that there's a space for personalization when it comes to things that even feel black or white. Even when we talk about, okay, you have to be in a calorie deficit, that's a kind of black and white thing. Yet you need to figure out, how do I unlock a consistent calorie deficit for me as a person, right? So even something so scientifically factual still needs context and needs personalization to deliver that context.
Love it.
All right.
Good episode.
That is our 50th episode of Truth Talks. We hope you enjoyed tuning in. Thank you. If you have tuned into, I'll say even 25 of those 50 episodes, we are so grateful.
3.
Even 5, even 1, any single episode you have tuned in. We are so, so, so grateful for your attention and your time, spending some time with us on a weekly basis. We're really excited to see what can happen in the next 50. If there's something you really want to hear about, please drop it below in the comments and we'll make it a future topic. Anything you want to add, Parris?
I'm just going to say, appreciative 50. Time flies. And just an example of, if we're this consistent with the podcast, imagine how consistent we are with helping you with your goals. So plugging us, if you guys want an amazing transformation of mind, body, spirit, that's exactly what we specialize in. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, we're consistent. We show up for this every week, just like we also show up for our client check-ins every week.
Exactly. My girlfriend says you're extremely predictable, and I love it because I'm very dependable, right? Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'll get it done, right? Or if she needs me for something, like it's in my routine, it's going to get done. And she doesn't have to worry about me having sporadic behavior because I'm so predictable. So she's like, you're extremely predictable, and I love it. I'm like, all right. Oh, actually, sorry, she's my fiance now, not my girlfriend.
You beat me to it. I was going to say you made one mistake with how you explained that story. Yeah, she's now your fiance. So
to be wife, shout out. Yeah.
That, you weren't predictable about that. I think you still caught her by surprise, which is good.
That was very unpredictable. That was the most spontaneous thing I've done in years because, Spontaneous is not my middle
It
name.
wasn't spontaneous because you thought you were very thoughtful with it. Just got to say that.
That's true.
But it was
But for her, it
spontaneous
felt
to her.
spontaneous.
For
Yeah,
her, it
yeah.
was spontaneous. I knew you'd been
That's too
planning it,
funny.
but
Yeah, that's true.
that's
I
awesome.
don't think I don't honestly can't think of any spontaneous thing I've probably done in like the last like 6 years, but it's
Give
okay.
me some time. I'll
Yeah,
find.
yeah.
I'll
We'll
think of
tell you
something
guys
for
next week.
you.
Yeah, yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much again for tuning into Truth Talks this week and every week for the last 50. We are looking forward to bringing you more episodes and hitting our next 50 milestone, which would bring us to a full 100. So here we go. The road to 100 starts now. Bye for now.